Our topic for today is physical and chemical changes. Physical change. What is a physical change? A physical change is one in which all or some of the physical properties of a substance undergoes a temporary change. What is a physical property? A physical property, what do we mean by it? The properties such as shape, size, color, odor, state of substance. That means whether the substance is solid, liquid or a gas. Melting point, boiling point, density, solubility, thermal and electrical conductivity. All these are called the physical properties of a substance. Some examples of physical changes, or rather we can say some types of physical change. Change of state, separation of a mixture, physical deformation and making solutions. All these are some of the types of physical change. Now we will study about the characteristics of physical change. The first characteristic: no new substance is formed. So what do we mean by this? We mean to say during a physical change you may see a change in shape of the object, a change in size, a change in volume or density, or even state of matter, like a solid changing to a liquid. But you will not see any change in chemical composition of the substance. To understand it better, we will take the example of melting of ice. Before we go into the example, please look into this diagram. All these red balls in this figure where we represent ice is actually molecules of water. So each red ball represents one molecule of water. Likewise, in this figure where we are representing liquid water, here also each of these red balls represent one molecule of water. Now let's see. If I take a piece of ice and keep it in a tray outside, what I will see? The ice will melt and change into liquid water. Now, here in ice, what is there? What it is made up of? It is made up of water molecules. These water molecules are arranged in a regular fashion, a regular pattern in ice. In liquid water, what is it made up of? It's again made up of water molecules. But the arrangement of the particles are no more regular. The intermolecular space between these particles have increased, and they are in constant random motion. They are moving about in the whole liquid. So we can see when ice changes to water, only a solid state changes to liquid state, but the particles of water, that's the water molecules, are present both in ice as well as in water. There is no change in the chemical composition. The next change, the change characteristic, the change is temporary and reversible in nature. So one of the examples we will take to understand it is melting of ice. So if you take some ice out of the refrigerator and put it in a glass, you will see slowly the ice melts. After some time, all the ice would have changed into liquid water. Now you take back that glass of water and keep it back in the refrigerator. What will happen? You will see the liquid water has again changed back to ice. So, melting of ice is not a permanent change. It can be reversed, it can be altered, so that change is temporary. So that's what we mean to say any physical change is temporary in nature, it can be altered, and reversible in nature. That means from ice to water you got, and you got back from water to ice. A third characteristic, there is no change in mass during a physical change. So we are saying what? The mass of the substance does not change. So let's do one thing. Let's take some amount of wax, solid wax, and we weigh it before the experiment. We weigh it. We find the mass of wax to be some 5 grams, or it can be 100 grams also. Maybe it can be 200 grams. You take the wax, put it on the stove in a pan. The wax slowly melts and changes to liquid wax. Now if you try to measure the mass of this liquid wax, you will find it to be exact equal to the mass of solid wax. So what does that show us? That during a physical change, the mass of any substance will remain constant. The fourth characteristic of physical change, there is usually no gain or loss of energy during a physical change. So let's take the example of boiling of water. When you boil water, what does happen? What happens rather? When we boil water, we see water absorbing a lot of heat energy and changing to vapor state. Now if we condense this water vapor, it will change back to liquid state, liquid water, by releasing out heat energy. So net in this whole process, there has been no gain or loss of energy. The amount of energy which was absorbed by water to change it into water vapor has been released when water vapor changed back to liquid water. So now we have understood what is physical change, what are its characteristics. We will try to see some more examples of physical change. Melting of wax, sublimation of naphthalene, magnetization of iron, dissolution of salt in water, glowing of an electric bulb, cutting a piece of paper. These are some of the examples of physical change. So we have an activity for you. Design an experiment to prove that mass remains constant during a physical change. Second activity for you. Design an experiment to prove that sublimation of ammonium chloride is a physical change.